Hello, Tim from Fair Play Now on the 17th of October 2022. No video from me yesterday, but I've got a couple of things I need to update you on. First of all, it was brought to my attention by a viewer that the video I recommended, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, but it was called Johnny's Cash and the Digital Currency or Smart Money Nightmare, I think it was called, by Richard Hall. So that was taken down from this channel, so I thought this viewer told me that, and then I checked it out and sure enough it wasn't there. Although other viewers have said that it is still on YouTube, so I'm not too sure what's going on there. But to be on the safe side, I'm going to put it onto my must-see videos on my website, because they're on Odyssey, I think it was, as well. So I've got the link so I can put it on my site. So I'll leave a link to my website, fairplaynow.net/must, and that will take you through to that. And if you haven't been able to see it, you can't find it on this platform, you can watch it there. So link will be in the description box below on that one. And I've got another video to recommend for you today as well. And I know many viewers will have heard of this series, but there's something called The Fall of the Cabal, and it's made by this lady from the Netherlands, I think she is. And she, although it's all done in English, so you don't need to worry about that. But if you want a really deep dive into exactly what's going on in this world and how this world works, you can't do much better than watching The Fall of the Cabal, all of the episodes. It will take you a week probably of solid viewing, or sort of fairly solid viewing, because there's 25 episodes. I think she did it in 2 parts. Like part 1 is episodes 1 to 10, and then she's been doing it on more of an ad hoc basis, just coming out with another episode as and when things are updated, and she's got more stuff to talk about and update us on. So the latest one is episode 25, and that's the one I'm going to link to. Again, it'll be on my website on the must see videos, so when you go through you'll see both of that one, the latest Fall of the Cabal, and the Smart Money Nightmare one as well. They'll be both there, so you can look at that. But yeah, Fall of the Cabal, it's a really interesting series, and I think it will sort of alter your view of the world, if it's not altered already, which it probably has been, let's be fair. But episode 25 was particularly interesting because they talk about how the populations of various countries around the world have essentially just been tortured. Okay, we're not talking about kind of pulling your fingernails out with a pair of pliers kind of torture, or sort of sledgehammer on the kneecaps. It's more psychological torture, mental torture, which is a very real thing. And I think it was either the Chinese or the Vietnamese kind of perfected this way back in the 50s, 60s, when they were capturing kind of American prisoners of war in the Korean War and the Vietnamese War. And they came up with a way of controlling them, because they didn't want sort of Cold It style, everybody trying to escape every 5 seconds. So they came up with this technique of mental manipulation to make the prisoners of war kind of docile, so they wouldn't even think about escaping in the first place. So what they did is came up with really a set of rules how to do this, and in this episode 25 they tell you what the rules are and what the steps are, should I say. And it's really, really interesting, because as she goes through it, you're certainly going to see the parallels. But apparently the first step that they used to take, the Chinese or whoever, was you isolate the prisoner first of all. So you kind of get them away from anyone who can lend any kind of support to them, friends or colleagues, and all of that kind of thing. And then after that, you impose a load of highly confusing rules, and rules that don't seem to make any sense. And then you humiliate them by humiliating kind of punishments for breaking these ridiculous rules. Wearing face nappies is also a way that they used to kind of humiliate people as well. And there's so many different steps, and it all kind of ties in with what we've experienced over the last 2.5 years. So of course, lockdowns isolated people, all of those stupid rules that the government came out with that didn't seem to make any sense, and everybody was kind of saying, well, you know, the government doesn't know what they're doing. Then none of these rules make any sense. They're contradictory, and all these curfews where you had to be at home, out of the pub and home by 9 o'clock. I don't think the lurgy can tell the time, so that's ridiculous. Well, that wasn't the government being stupid. That is out of this torture playbook. That is exactly what you do to mentally torture people, because by giving a load of contradictory and confusing rules, you just confuse people, and then that kind of then puts them into a zombified compliant state eventually. And it really is a fascinating subject, and far from the government being incompetent, they were being all too competent and downright evil. And people might wonder why I detest the government so much. Well, it's stuff like this is why, because I am absolutely convinced that they've used mental torture on the population and psychological manipulation techniques on the population for nefarious ends, and I'm absolutely disgusted and sickened by it. But this film, Fall of the Cabal, episode 25, describes it way better than I can here. So I'm going to let you go and watch that, and I think you are going to you're going to see a lot of parallels between what the Chinese used to do back in the day and what's been going on over the last couple of years or so. And yeah, I think you're going to be frankly angry, as I am, and I just cannot believe that these horrible governments have done this. Oh, and by the way, in about the middle of this episode 25, there is a very interesting scene which is from the opening ceremony of the London Olympics in 2012, and you might recall it was a bit bizarre, and one of the sort of bits of it had sort of nurses, kind of old-fashioned looking nurses in garb they used to wear about, 100 years ago, kind of dancing around hospital beds. Well, what does that remind you of? It's kind of reminiscent of these TikTok videos where you saw all of the dancing sort of nurses. So was that kind of some kind of predictive programming? Well, you tell me in the comment section below. But I'll let you go and watch that film, both of those films that I've talked about. I'll let you go and do that, and I'll be back tomorrow. Tim from Fair Play Now. Thanks for watching.